When Willie Nelson isn't out fighting the IRS or doing what Willie Nelson does best, he might be recording albums with Leonard Cohen covers on it, which was exactly the case in 2006 when he released Songbird, and on this record had a cover of Cohen's song Hallelujah on it. Now, there is a specific line in question which is going to be the focus of today's lesson that you've definitely heard before, you've probably even sung along to, but you might not know that this one line can teach us much of what we need to learn about music theory at this level and really sets a sturdy foundation to progress further as we learn more music. So that specific line in question, which I'm going to be careful with because I'm not sure how copyright claims work on YouTube exactly, goes like this, right? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift, okay? Now, you've probably heard that line before, and I don't actually know what key of music that the song was originally recorded in. It's probably been recorded in many different keys. But it doesn't matter because that line itself tells us everything we need to know about playing at least that line of the song, because it is referring to degrees in a scale, but that's not important. What's important in this lesson is that we're going to use this information to kind of break down how we can learn to play music in any key and what chords go into that key of music. To understand what it means when he's saying the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, I want to show you something called the circle of fifths. Now, don't panic. We're going to simplify this and just kind of look at one corner of the circle of fifths today to help explain what this means and how we can use it to build chords and songs and things like that. Okay, to keep this simple, let's just focus on the key of G, okay? So you locate the G chord on your circle of fifths. Now, important to know that in the bluegrass realm, whatever chord that you start the song on will most likely be the key of the song. But that is definitely not always the case, so be careful. But for this example, we are starting on the G chord, which makes that the one chord, or how he refers to in the song as the major lift, okay? Now, when we look to the left of the one chord, we find the four chord, in which case it is the old trusty C chord, all right? And then when we look to the right, we find the five chord, and in the key of G, this is the D, and we're playing the D chord, all right? Now, right underneath that big G, that big one, that major lift, you'll find the chord that is the minor fall, all right? And in this case is the E minor. And if you watched one of my other lessons, I kind of described this as like the four primary colors, if you will, of music are right here on the circle of fifths. So what I mean by that is you can basically mix and match these chords and they're going to sound fine together, okay? Now, if you look to the right and left of that six minor, or that minor, also known as the six or the six minor, which I'll explain in just a second, to either side of that, you've got two other minor chords that will go and work well into the song as well. They just perhaps aren't used as frequently, all right? And so, hope you're following along. This is about as easy as I can explain it. But to use another example, let's just play this song or transcribe this tune of Leonard Cohen, Willie Nelson, into the key of C, okay? So we look at our circle of fifths. We've got C, that is our one chord. In this situation, our F is our four chord, right? Our five is a G, and our six minor is that A minor, okay? Now, if I were to change the key of the song, sing it along and play those chords, it would sound like this, right? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and then the major lift, okay? Exact same song, I am just playing it in a different key. And that brings me to another point in this lesson. Do not be afraid to change the key of a song. I can't tell you how many times that I've played a song in front of somebody who's not used to seeing it played in a different key, and they're like, no man, you can't, that's not how you play the song. You're playing the wrong chords. Like, no, I'm just playing it in a different key, okay? So you can do that by using a capo. You can do that by transcribing it, which is the way that I most commonly use the circle of fifths, okay? So let's just look at another example, and let's use the 1, 5, 6 minor, 4 chord progression. So we got 1, 5, 6 minor, 4. In the key of G, at least that's what it looks like. All right, but let's say that I'm singing a song in that chord progression and it doesn't sound right, okay? Kind of sounds like I need to change the key to fit my vocal range, all right? So this is how I use the circle of fifths. And let's say that I want to change that from the key of G to the key of D, all right? So let's use the circle of fifths once more. And all of a sudden, instead of the G, E minor, D, and then a C chord, we get a D, which is our 1, right? 5 chord, which is our A. A B minor becomes that relative minor or 6 minor. And then the G is our 4 chord, all right? And if I play that in sequence, it might give me a better sound to fit my vocal range or what have you. But do not be afraid to use the circle of fifths for those reasons. That's why it's there amongst many other reasons, right? And then the final bit of info here today in this lesson is how this relates to something called the Nashville number system. Now, you might be asking yourself, Cody, why are we writing numbers when we just can write the name of the chords? Well, imagine that you're in a setting, kind of like I described just now, only with other people, where there's other musicians and they're sharing tasks, they're sharing vocals, and maybe somebody's just not feeling it that day, right? They're used to playing a song in a higher key, but they need to change the key because they're singing lower, or maybe they're saving the big punch for the show later that evening, all right? So you can just yell out, hey, let's play this in the key of B, maybe instead of the key of C, or let's go down to A instead of C, or whatever it is, right? So if we use a system of numbers, in this case it's called the Nashville number system, this is how I learned music, then these changes become very simple and you don't have to go through the, what chord goes here and everything else. You can just slap on a capo and, play the song. So let's look at a couple of examples. For this example here, we've got a 1-1-4 5 chord progression. So this would look like 1 in the key of G, 1, right? 4 and 5. Okay? If we wanted to play the same thing in the key of C, we would play 1 C chord, another C chord, 4, which is our F chord, and 5, which is our G chord. All right? Say we're playing a 1 6 minor, 4 6 minor, and we want to play that in the key of D, we would say 1 is D, 6 minor, 4 is a G, 6 minor is another B minor. Alright, so guys, I hope that lesson was helpful. Again, if you have any feedback, leave it down in the comment section. I really appreciate hearing all the positive feedback, but criticism is welcome as well. Let me know how to optimize my content and get you guys learning this style better and faster. And until next time, adios.